2 more topics, 3 more. Let's talk about OnlyFans. How OnlyFans is banning sexual acts on their website as of October 1st. So that people got another month and 10 days.
I think the funny part about this is like, it's just like, oh man, there's so much to unpack with this actually. So,
yeah, I mean, we can start from the beginning about what OnlyFans was created for anyway in the beginning.
Yeah.
And how it's been around for a while. Like, I don't know why people just found out about it.
It's supposed to be like Patreon.
Yeah. It literally says it's a site for exclusive content. Nobody determined what that exclusive content was. But it's like, let's say like you're a YouTuber that does makeup tutorials, right? But then you want to open up OnlyFans where you're doing a little bit more like in detailed tutorials and like master classes, teaching people the details, like Arrogant Tay for the wigs. He could use OnlyFans to teach people how to do the wigs the way he does them perfectly to a T, taking his time. That's the exclusivity of it. And people made it into a sexual site. It wasn't meant to be that. It was just exclusive content that you might want to pay. You want people to pay for your skills, to learn more skills from you. Yeah, see how he went off the track too? Interesting. But yeah, it's like that's what the site was for, to teach people. I mean, not to teach people, but just have exclusive content. Like, you might be a model and there might be a picture that you don't want to post on Instagram that people really want to see. They could pay for your OnlyFans to see it. But now OnlyFans came synonymous with like a porn site.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. That's not what it was meant for. And nothing wrong with using it in that way, because it's still exclusive content. But I don't know why people are so shocked. Like, that site was made for that specifically. Like, that's what X videos is for.
I think the ban is interesting.
It is. I don't necessarily agree with it because it did bring them a lot of attention. The sexualness of it brought the site probably millions, if not billions.
No, definitely not billions.
Okay, it's millions.
No, they don't make that much, but but it's
definitely
just
millions between the last 3 years.
I saw the figures. I think it brought them in like it's
figures.
It's not 3.
But
not
3 figures, but 3 like hundreds millions.
9 figures. But so it definitely brought them a lot. The only thing that I think is interesting, and it's just funny because like, not that you have to be some sort of economic genius to evaluate companies and see what's going on. Oh, he fell. Funny enough, people that are consumers are the best people. Have the best gauge of investing because you know what works and what doesn't. You know what product is cool. By the time somebody on Wall Street knows it, like, you know it. And that's one thing that Peter Lynch will tell you. Like, he's worth a few $100 million. Mm-hmm. Now, is he worth a few hundred? He is. I think Peter Lynch is worth $400 million, if I'm not mistaken. And all of his best performing stocks were based off of things that his wife picked that has no like financial stock knowledge. Yeah. She would just be like literally, he showed up to a hotel. He was like, I like this hotel. Then bought mad stock in it, and then it went up. He was like, he went to Dunkin'. He liked Dunkin' coffee. He bought mad stock. Best performing. Probably, I think it was the best performing stock.
Wow.
There was a company called Legs, I think, that had leggings or something like that in like the 80s or 90s or something, before Hanes was actually popular. Mm-hmm. And his wife like put them on, and she was like, yeah, I like these. These are better than those. Yeah. He invested in it. Astronomical. But anyway, I don't know what I was getting at. Yeah, just the idea of business. Like, people, like, business people are so out of touch with how society works. It's like insane that people even make money. Yeah. Because the banks and all these people are like, and their investors are like, we want to get this stuff off the site. Yeah. And it's just funny how, excuse me, jeez. What just happened? Coughed for a second. It's funny how out of touch they are, because they want the ban, thinking that OnlyFans will be more marketable to like a larger audience. Yeah. But that's not how it's going to work.
It's probably going to backfire.
It's going to backfire significantly.
People are going to strike it.
Because of...
like, bad.
Because people aren't... I think that they're thinking that, okay, porn, brought it all this notoriety, and OnlyFans is like a household name. And now I think they're thinking the ban is gonna make people convert to like away from that content, but still keep that same consumer base. But that's not the case. Really, people,
you're gonna lose a lot of users of that. Like most people, you're gonna lose like probably like I would say 50%,
if not
more. Yeah, because people, like I said, like the site existed for a while. Like I know somebody who said they literally was doing cooking videos on OnlyFans 6 years ago, but it didn't become a household name until probably 2019, and even then, more so during quarantine. A lot of people were trying to make more money. Everybody was making OnlyFans, but like probably to 2019, 2018 to 2020 became like a household name, and it was because of that. Like people, like even Beyonce saying "Demon Time," she started OnlyFans. Like she said "Demon Time." Of course, she's not saying someone's making OnlyFans to post cooking videos. Like clearly, she's talking about the sexual aspect of it. So it became so synonymous with sexualness that I think they're, like you said, they're trying to be a Patreon, and it's going to backfire. Like people are not going to support it. People are not going to use the site. They're going to lose a lot of that money. And it's crazy because now they have the investor aspect of it, and it's just going to backfire.
Which is hilarious because Patreon, you could post stuff up there too.
So maybe people are going to use Patreon now.
Well, it's not the same stuff. It's not as explicit, but it's like kind of like as a way to get certain pictures and images and stuff like that. It's not as wild as OnlyFans. And this is just from what I'm assuming. I don't know. This is what I understand from people with the Patreons, because they would like post their content on OnlyFans, Patreon, whatever. I don't really know. I'm not paying for any of that stuff, but you could like it's because Patreon was never marketed like, and not that OnlyFans was, but like Patreon was never synonymous with that, so that's why they have that level of success. But you can't go from being synonymous with that and then now people look at your brand differently just because you banned it. Like it's always going to be that.
And if they were really smart, they would bank on that and just make that their site. Make that what the site is for. Then just that might not have been what you wanted it to be for, and maybe you're kind of disappointed, but just make it for that then. But I think, like you said, the whole investor thing, the investors are probably not investing in a brand like that, which is weird. Because why not? It makes money.
It's because their name, like, because if you take, for example, like JP Morgan, and not necessarily that they're an investor, companies aren't going to want to attach their names to things like that.
Yeah.
For like, which is hilarious because even if it's like making money, public perception,
still have an image, yeah.
But JP Morgan shouldn't care since they had like a $20 billion Coke boat that we still don't know what happened to. But anyway. Yeah, I think there's a lot of implications. I think it's dumb. You had a good thing going. Pretty much cornered the market in terms of that, which is hilarious to me because there was always those type of sites that you could just do through the porn sites themselves. Like you could do like
premium
accounts, whatever. Yeah. And it's just funny that became a thing.
Yeah, they were able to just literally take that over completely, like knowing that you're going to a site specifically to pay to see like everyday people. Because I think that there was like a stigma around like everyday people just being on like porn sites. Like it felt weird, But I think it took away that stigma that an everyday person could just post their nude or post them having sex with their boyfriend, and it's not weird. It's not as like cringy and as taboo as being like a porn star.
Which is crazy because like those people that are on the porn sites are like the highest performing people in terms of money. Which is wild because you get way more traffic going through a porn site than you do through OnlyFans.
That's true.
So it's just weird.
Because you have the chance on a site to see the free stuff and to see a preview. You don't really have that aspect on OnlyFans. Like that's the only way you really could have a preview is if you post a preview on Instagram or Twitter. But I mean, it did make a lot of people rich. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do from here. Like I'm sure they're going to have ways to work it out, but a lot of people are probably going to be out of a job, which is unfortunate. But I do feel like people should be paid for it. Like I'm not one of those people who's against it. If people are going to pay, then let them pay. If men are going to pay money to watch people that didn't know would be naked, then I can't judge. Men will spend their money on anything, and if women want to take advantage of that, then I think go ahead.
Yeah, it's I think the top like 5% will be fine, but everybody else that started like. It's always that funny joke. Like, imagine starting one and
it flops. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Which just people probably know.
Yeah, so those people definitely won't be fine, but you shouldn't have banked on that anyway. I think
Yeah, if anything that has to do with, I mean, any job, not even just social media jobs in general, even us, our everyday jobs, there should always be a backup plan. There should always be the what if. But with social media, especially because it's, especially like you see YouTube and all that stuff, it's so volatile and it's not a forever thing. You should always have a second plan and involve your personal brand and do whatever you can to just keep that money coming in.
yeah, because I just was watching a producer who will remain nameless because I don't know, I just don't want it to come across a certain way, but he was dominating music production at one point, and is the reason why a lot of us, including myself, make the type of beats and stuff that we make. Like everybody had this particular producer's drum kits and everything. Everybody wanted to replicate it, and he was on a tear like 2012, 2010, between like those 2 years, 3 years. And he was on the live. He was like, "Hey guys, my time is over." Like, and it's just crazy because you have somebody that was so dominant, and then, that stuff is not always sustainable. It's not all this industry is not always going to be sustainable. It's a lot more sustainable now because of the technology that we have. Whereas like the OGs of like the porn industry didn't have the same stuff. But even then, you still see that, you see them now coming back and still capitalizing off of that. But again, those people are who they are because they weren't, not because they were on OnlyFans. I don't know anybody that has really gotten popular because of OnlyFans.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably a handful, but not really. Most people were, like I said, were popular somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like you take somebody like Selena Powell, was popular before her OnlyFans, obviously. So that's the only reason she was able to make money off of it. Yeah, I'm not even sure if anybody who became like an OnlyFans star.
There's some like
I mean, I'm sure there are out there. I'm not. That's not my scope, so I wouldn't even know. But
there's definitely some, but it's like, I don't know. I think that it's stupid. They shouldn't ban it. I think it brings up the interesting discussion about sex work and should it be allowed or should it be banned? Because I think that in Texas they just made it so any form of prostitution, I could be wrong, it might not have been Texas, but I think it was banned? That any form of prostitution is now a federal crime, not just a.
I mean, I find that weird because like we talked. Oh my God, I can't talk. We talked about this before about how it's banned because they can't make money off of it. Because I do feel like it's kind of weird. Like, why are you? Like, if that's a way to make money, then let people make the money that way. Like, if you don't agree with them morally, then oh well. Like, morally anyway, the judgment should be more on the men because they're the ones that are making this even an industry. Like you have control as a man to make the industry not even exist. It's all the power is all in men's and is in their court, is in their hands. Because there would be no sex work if it wasn't for men. Like,
and it's always interesting because it's like kind of just telling what things are legal and what things aren't legal. Like how we just listed off earlier in the podcast, the list of a bunch of things that we consume, that people consume every day, that are on the list of all the things that cause cancer, and that's legal. But cigarettes are legal, alcohol is legal.
Yeah.
Gas powered cars are legal, but then sex work is illegal. When that was literally the first job ever in human history was prostitution.
Wow.
And it's just like kind of wild that's like it's just interesting. Like I would like to get an explanation as to why, because we know it's because they can't monetize it, because the second they figured out how to monetize weed, it's everywhere. There's a dispensary over there, there's a dispensary over here, and it's just like,
yeah, I just don't like that because it's like, yeah, I just feel like it's just messed up because like let people make their money the way they want to make their money, and like, but as long as it's not harming anybody.
Yeah, and then you take places like I was telling you before, like I was just out in Vegas and that is legal over there, and it's like, maybe take a look at Vegas and see how they're not Vegas. Sorry, I was in Vegas, but Nevada. I was about to say, is she the pacer?
Nah, the pacer is off the course.
She's out of here.
The pacer just got off.
But I was just out in Nevada and it's legal over there, and it's like, well, maybe other states should take a look, or the federal government should take a look at how they're running things and how they're able to monetize and tax and do all those sorts of things. Because if that's what people want to do, then that's just what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
I don't see how strip clubs are illegal when they're getting that off in strip clubs anyway. Yeah,
like private time, that's literally the same thing. Them going to the rooms.
Yeah, so I think it's stupid. I think my only gripe with the OnlyFans thing that I didn't like, but and I just feel like I should address this because there's a lot of men that are like, ha ha, now you gotta go get a job and work at McDonald's.
Which is kind of like messed up to me because like, why are you so happy with that when you were the same men that were probably paying for it? Like, you're mad at an industry that was created because of you.
Well, they weren't paying for it, obviously.
Well, yeah, but you're mad about an industry that was created because of you and your species and the thirst.
Yeah, I just didn't like that part of it, because it's like, I don't know, like, what do you gain from somebody else's loss?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't gain. You're not gonna get more money in your pocket. Like, you're gonna. It's like what we were talking about earlier. People just want to be able to point a finger at somebody like, ha ha.
And I think it's like men are jealous of it, which is weird because there's so many men that are successful on OnlyFans too. So it's like, why are you mad?
Yeah, it's because this happens all the time with women and stripping and stuff like that. Is that men try to like demean them to like make themselves feel better, and I just think that it's like so weird. It's like a weird thing. Like you're jealous. Like if you want to go on the internet and shake ass, then you can do that too.
You can do it too. And there's a whole market for it because I'm sure there's gay men out there who love that.
Yeah, go ahead and do it then. Like, why are we getting mad at women for making money? It's not harming you.
It's very weird. Like the men that were hyped about that, it's like, ew, that's the type of men I wouldn't want in my life. I wouldn't even, like, as a girl, if you seen that tweet, that's like a red flag.
Especially if like you watch porn.
Yeah. Like you consume it, but now you're mad at the people that literally give you that, that content.
Yeah, men can be super nuts sometimes, and that was the common thing that I saw in response to it. But I think that the only thing that I agree with, if this is why they retorted this way, then I understand. There's a lot of women that I saw like that had an issue with the OnlyFans things being leaked, and their responses were that men are creeps and weirdos and like, why you want to see women, and it's like super weirdo behavior to be doing all this and all that, blah blah blah, and that they hate men and men are disgusting and pigs and whatever. And it's like, that's the only thing.
Yeah,
it's weird.
You're profiting off of the men too.
You're profiting off of,
and you're profiting off of them being disgusting.
Yeah, but then you like attack them for being that way when that's how you're making your money.
Yeah. So I could agree with that type of like criticism, because it's like, of course I'm gonna critique a woman who's making money off of an industry that's surrounded by men, but they hate men in the same breath.
Yeah, it's like weird.
Yeah.
So that was the only, if that was people's responses to that, then
then that makes sense. Yeah.
But if it's just because you're jealous that you can't shake ass on the internet, then that's that's on you. Go ahead and do something. Yeah.